Skippy resigns from DVL to fucking get DOP. Big brain move. The power play.
I've called Joe here today to talk about the events that took place towards the final minutes of that operation and to address the situation involving the 104th hostage negotiation. Or should I say hostages negotiation? I will start off by saying that the hostage negotiations failure was not at the fault of 104th and was at the fault of my own action. Essentially what had happened was I was on a balcony outside of the building where the negotiation was happening. I was on the balcony just outside the door. The hostage taker, I was not aware of what was going on inside. Off the start I opened the door before and noticed, and I had left and was waiting outside obviously for either Wolf to finish the negotiation, tell me what he needed, or just to oversee the operation, make sure it was going okay. During the time of waiting on the balcony, after about a minute or two of me standing out there, the force user or individual inside the hostage taker had come outside and, without saying anything, threw me from the balcony halfway across the base. I returned to the balcony to inform that said force user that if he touches any other clones or hurts me again, or hurts any more clones, negotiation would be called off. But before I could send that message, he had once again thrown me off the balcony, which at that point I came inside and started returning fire to the force user, which led to the deaths of approximately 5 to 7 104th troopers. I will apologize to 104th for my failure to communicate effectively, even if it is true that we don't negotiate with people, once they start being aggressive. I could have communicated that to 104th and the SOBD and the sniper task force that was stationed outside overall. I could have communicated that better, which could have, even if the negotiations were called off at that point, it could have saved lives. I'm not certain. The people who died of the bombs, I know that there was at least 2, which was 104th specifically, the negotiation team. So, I do apologize to them for obviously interrupting I'm not going to say I interrupted the negotiation because the force user came out to me, but I will apologize that the outcome went the way it did and that I did not communicate very effectively. As a general, it's my job to communicate. That's my main role and purpose. However, the one thing that can never happen and is never going to be allowed is a hostage taker touching any members of high command, whether it be an assault reg or me or one of my lower generals. The second a hostage taker begins to attack or hurt a member of high command or another trooper, I won't allow that. Granted, Wolf?
The thing that I must say is that you didn't communicate to any of us or the negotiation team that you were attempting to get on top of the balcony to do anything. You didn't enter the building a normal way or inform any of the 2 officers, Mortar or Comet, that were currently in the middle of the negotiations. You didn't talk to any of us. You didn't talk to the sniper team. You didn't talk to anybody at the front gate. You climbed up to the balcony and opened the door right directly behind an active force user with both lightsabers drawn that was in negotiations with my men. After the first force push, I'm going to go out of character here. Usually when an EP needs to get people away from it, they will simply just force push them. It's better than the EP trying to directly fuck over my guys, because what will usually happen is that somebody will mess with the negotiation and that will negatively affect the negotiator. That has happened in the past. The EP hosting it did a great job and didn't penalize either officer while they were negotiating for your actions, and then he was met with that by you breaching the door and shooting him in the back. You didn't communicate that you were breaching, you didn't communicate that he physically touched you, you didn't communicate anything to any part of the negotiation team. From our perspective, you mainly just You climbed up to the balcony, interfered with the negotiation. He force pushed you, you shot him in the back, and got my men killed. And interrupted the entire negotiation, causing it to fail. I am with your point that no high command should come into danger in these situations, but when you actively put yourself in the situation and self-insert yourself and get yourself harmed, we cannot be held accountable for it, and we should not have our operations ruined because you wanted to self-insert. You didn't talk to any of us, you didn't talk to me, you didn't talk to any of the active negotiators. You could have simply walked in through the front door, reported in to me, any of my other men, asked the situation, we would have given you you failed to do so, and I do believe that the consequences, you should give in consequences for your actions, more than just a debriefing telling us why. Fucked up that mission, we've got our objectives basically fucked over, and we're lucky that the EP didn't have all of those troopers just RP die because of that explosion. Because after he died, all of those explosives went off. It killed me, it killed a couple of my guys in game, and then it must have, in RP, killed troopers. The EP simply chose not to fucking make us medic RP them 20 hours. That's all I'm
Obviously I do respect your opinion. And that's why I'm not interrupting you, even though there are things that you said that I don't necessarily agree with. At the end of the day, I did not do what I needed to do. That is just a fact. That is a statement. I will say, and I will defend this, the reason I hadn't come inside to attempt to talk to negotiators, hence why I was waiting outside, I was waiting for you guys to come to me. I wasn't expecting this force user to come outside to me to attack me. That's why I distanced myself from him and was waiting outside for someone to come out with any results or anything. I was also there to wait for whatever he was waiting for. I believe he was waiting for transport or something, I'm not sure, and I was waiting. That way I could also inform. And at the end of the day, I did not communicate. That's what happened there. I did not communicate. If I had communicated that I was going to breach, I could have done it with a team. I also could have communicated to your guys, so you guys could have backed up and been in a safe position for when it happened. Overall, I did not communicate, and it's the communication error that led to death. So once again, I do apologize to 104th in putting you guys in that position. I want it to be known I have never, in my entire time on this server, it's been over a year now, year anniversary in January, I have never, ever interfered with any 104th negotiations. I've always been a part of them as Alpha Arc, being a sniper awaiting their orders, or any other really job that I've been on, but I've never gone out of my way to interrupt a 104th negotiation. And I will say that this debriefing is not a consequence that's been given to me. I didn't ask Marks to do this, I didn't talk to anybody. I decided that I would come here and talk to you guys and also have it open, that way the rest of the server could hear the situation. The reason I hadn't gone around trying to defend myself right away is because there were a few people who, obviously people needed their own time to calm down and take a few breaths. But on top of that, there were a lot of false things going around, things that weren't true. And I also wanted to piece my story together and make sure that it was 100% true and overlook everything that I did and see, did I do this wrong, did I do this right? Well, I'm just reading what Lion said. That's the whole point, Lion, of me saying that I didn't communicate, is so, I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying, you're laughing that I'm saying I didn't communicate. I'm acknowledging I didn't communicate. That is the issue there, I did not communicate. That is what I'm saying, is that I didn't communicate. I'm not saying I need to communicate, I'm telling you I did not communicate. That is the issue there. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. 104th did nothing wrong. Nobody did anything wrong. I will personally see to it your ass is fucking demoted. Get the fuck off my stage. So, I'm trying to do the right thing for 104. Obviously I can't change the outcome. But I can try to explain myself for my actions and also make sure that it's known that they didn't do anything wrong. Because they did absolutely nothing wrong. They have no control over what a hostage taker chooses to do, and they also have no control over what I choose to do. Okay. I'll acknowledge walking into the situation. The first time I walked, I didn't realize what was going on in the building, and I left once I realized. And then trying to strong-arm myself. I wasn't trying to put myself into the hostage negotiation. That's why I was waiting outside. I was waiting for you guys to do your job, and then I'll just hear out what's going on and do my best to communicate whatever I can to help. But obviously then the force user just came outside and whirlwinded me. And then when I returned to tell him what had happened, and that to tell him not to touch anybody else or myself again, that's when he did it again. Obviously I have no control over what what Nick chooses to do as the actor. However, it is my personal opinion that I will say this, that Nick only did it because it was me. Hence why he's dancing over there. But at the end of the day, I made mistakes. And do I deserve a court-martial for these mistakes? I don't think I can court-martial myself. I don't think that's a thing I can do. The reasoning behind my actions was related to real-life type scenarios. Because in real life, when a hostage taker hurts a single person, negotiations are off. That's when the SWAT team kicks in the door and breaches. Hence why I'm acknowledging that what I failed to do was communicate. Because I just kind of one-man show ran in. Didn't really think about the possible outcome, which was very poor. I don't think I can court-martial myself, though. I don't know what I would do for a court-martialing of myself. Mortar, go ahead.
To clarify what happened before, you weren't the first person to step in from the balcony, so I understand the coming from the Dark Force user's perspective that multiple people at that point when you first open that door, whether on accident or on purpose, whatever, it was the second person that came in. It just is a problem when, like, we can't have a secure negotiation. So he was just trying to get people out of it so we could do our job. And I can see how it would be a bother to him.
Of course, I'm not aware if anybody else had, attempted to go in through that door not realizing, and if it had become an issue to the force user. All I know is that I'd been on the balcony for about a minute or two now, 2 minutes, and then suddenly he came out and pushed me. I wasn't messing with the door. I wasn't actively disturbing them. I walked in the once and I left. And then when I came back to tell him, which obviously that's another thing I did wrong, I could have just communicated to Wolf that if that force user touches me or another trooper again, that we're going to call off negotiations. Once again, communication errors. I'm completely taking full responsibility for my errors to communicate. That's very poor. Usually I'm great at communicating, so I really don't know what happened, and I take full responsibility for what happened. Completely my fault. Here's what I'm going to do for the sake of the 104.
Nick is fucking PTS already. Jesus Christ.
I'm not granting Nick's PTS. I'm not granting his PTS, and I'm not going to say why. You know what, I will say why. For the sake of my own sanity, so I don't have to hear about it. When he came up to explain a situation, he blew it out of proportion, and he said something that was false. So I don't want to hear what he has to say, because he said something stupid earlier.
Okay, well...
I said you were mad in Discord DMs, but...
No, I wasn't. I'm not talking about that.
If we're all talking like normal human... If we're all talking like adults here, let the man speak. Let the man make his point. Because I'm not
Alright,
here screaming
fine.
at you.
No, of course. Nick, go ahead. What do you want to say?
I just want to say that that entire situation was not biased at all. From
This
my
is a
point of view,
circus.
obviously. I did see a lack of communication, but I also saw a disregard for the leverage that
This
the
is
hostage taker had.
this is peak
There's
tame
no
water
point in
right
doing
now.
hostage negotiations if someone's just gonna run in there and shoot him if he starts injuring clones. If you've been on Alpha Arc and you've been to these hostage negotiations, you'll know that High Command have been injured in the past, but the negotiations still proceed. So I feel like this just wasn't needed, and you kind of made the situation worse than it already was. And I don't think that was a lack of communication, I think it was just a lack of common sense, not to patronize you.
That's fine. I've never personally been part of a hostage-related issue where
Tame water
the High
debates at
Command
4
was injured
a.m.
that I knew about. All my knowledge of hostage negotiations from real-life experience is always the second that the hostage taker, no matter the leverage, unless he's got bombs strapped to an entire city. The second
Oh
he
yeah,
starts hurting
server's
people
about to
or killing
restart.
people, that's when it's kind of bendable when it comes to hurting people, but killing people is just unacceptable. Polar, what do you want to say?
I don't care exactly about the communication or anything like that. All I want to say, if anybody else did what you did, we would have killed them by now.
As I said, I don't know the process for giving me a court-martial. If I am allowed to just grant...
And you're my pal, I went to Ert about it, Ert has to do it. Either Ert does it, or he has to give me perms.
I give you permission to court-martial me.
I mean, he can. He's the High Jedi General, the General of the Army, whatever the fuck he is.
I know he can. I'm telling you, I give you perms to court-martial me.
Okay. We do this.
If you want to court-martial me right now, we can do it.
Right now?
Late night court martial.
We should probably get
Race against the clock.
the other ARF witnesses on first.
I mean, all of us are on right now over there.
A court-martial isn't needed when I've admitted
And
guilt,
the
so...
EC.
You tell me what the punishment is for my crimes. You're a general, you know how to analyze the situation. I'll take whatever punishment you tell me to take, based off the circumstances. I've trusted you with multiple court-martialings. I think you know what to do.
From the reports I'm getting, at least 15 to 20. I would just be putting you down, but you're a general, and I think that this requires
If you think that, we wrote the Republic Judiciary Law. The law says that that's the punishment, then that is the punishment. I don't think that ERT needs to do it when I already grant the punishment upon myself and accept it.
So you want
if I was
to go
fighting it, then
that?
you'd have to get ERT. I mean, if that is what the Republic Judiciary... I believe in what I write, and I wrote on that Republic Judiciary Law that if you do this, this is the punishment. So if that is what the punishment is, which I believe it is, then that is the punishment I will take.
You realize I'm talking hard, PK, right? Like,
I understand.
You're understanding that. Well, I said I was a wasp. Let's get it done. What up, Earth on me?
What happens if he gets hard PK'd? Wait a minute. He's DVL. He's general anyway. That's an out of character position, but like it comes with it.
This isn't the right way. This is embarrassing.
Wrong way.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is.
My own.
We can do it outside.
Fourth of the main bay. I can get the line set up.
Bro, he's running. Look at him run.
Oh, gotta make it on time to my execution.
server restarts in 4 minutes, by the way. You guys got time.
Can I have time before the server?
Hurry.
It's okay. There's always time for an execution.
We got 3 minutes till the restart.
Pilot, fuck off. Pilots, fuck
Out of the
off.
line, pilot. Move.
Skippy? I brought you here, and on the way, I've decided that, truthfully, a hard PK for you is probably not the choice. We've readjusted the punishment with Major General cards on comms. You go to Coruscant for 30 days. You're not allowed on your general job or do any high command duties during that time, other than obvious DVL things. If you fuck up like this again, I'm sorry. Fox, please get a...
Can we still shoot
I
him?
didn't hear him call it off. What? No.
This is a worse punishment, honestly, because he doesn't get the satisfaction of being killed.
God damn it.
Man, I don't get to shoot Skippy in the head. Fuck.
Alright,
Shoot them
great.
alive.
Server's gonna restart, so if you wanna try out,
Well,
join back
boys,
in
with
once the server
closing
gets
note,
back up.
with one closing note, there is only one thing you can say about the situation. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
What it is.
What it is.
It is what it is. What it is.
Wait, is that Scarf Gucci?
That's out of character, Senior Commander. You're out of pocket.
No, like the brand from Kamino. I've been meaning to get some armor plate. Well, Skippy's dead, boys.
07. Server restarting, boys.
Yeah.
On the other side.
We
We
got
killed
him.
the man. But not
Death to
actually killing him.
Skippy!
Yeah, death to
See you in a
Skippy.
month, retard!
We got him.